Good morning. This is Kim Blaylock with SDG Bible Study, the Soli Deo Glory Bible Study, coming to you on this Sunday morning, May the 26th, 2024. Hope everyone is doing well and everyone is preparing their heart, mind, and their body and soul to be in God's house this morning, worshiping our great God in spirit and in truth. Hope you're somewhere where God's word is preached without apology and in spirit and in truth, where someone opens God's word, preaches from it exegetically, expositionally, and you hear the whole counsel of God. I hope that's you this morning, and I hope that's where you are with God's people as we fellowship and hear from God together and worship Him. This morning, we will continue in our reading from the Robert Murray M'Cheyne one-year reading plan. We're going to be in 5 chapters this morning. We're going to be into the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1. So moving on from Leviticus into Deuteronomy. We're going to be in Psalms chapters 81 and 82. We're going to be in Isaiah 29, and we're going to be in the book of 3 John this morning, chapter 1. So I hope you'll join me as we read God's word together. Deuteronomy chapter 1. These are the words which Moses spoke to all Israel across the Jordan in the wilderness, in the Arabah, opposite Suph, between Paran and Tophel, and Laban and Hazeroth and Dizahab. It is 11 days' journey from Oreb by the way of Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea. Now it happened in the 40th year, on the first day of the 11th month, Moses spoke to the children of Israel according to all that Yahweh had commanded him to give to them, after he had struck down Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan, who lived in Ashtaroth, and Idri. Across the Jordan in the land of Moab, Moses undertook to expound this law, saying, Yahweh our God spoke to us at Oreb, saying, You have stayed long enough at this mountain. Turn and set out and go to the hill country of the Amorites, and to all their neighbors in the Arabah, in the hill country, and in the Shephelah, and in the Negev, and by the seacoast, the land of the Canaanites, and Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates. See, I have given over the land before you. Go in and possess the land which Yahweh swore to give to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to them and to their seed after them. And I spoke to you at that time, saying, I am not able to bear the burden of you alone. Yahweh your God has multiplied you, and behold, you are this day like the stars of heaven in number. May Yahweh, the God of your fathers, increase you 1,000-fold more than you are, and bless you, just as he has promised you. How can I alone bear the load and burden of you and your strife? Choose wise and understanding and experienced men from your tribes, and I will appoint them as your heads. Then you answered me and said, This thing which you have said to do is good. So I took the heads of your tribes, wise and experienced men, and gave them as heads over you, leaders of thousands and of hundreds, of fifties and of tens, and officers for your tribes. Then I commanded you judges at that time, saying, Hear the cases between your brothers, and judge righteously between a man and his brother, or the sojourner who is with him. You shall not show partiality in judgment. You shall hear the small and the great alike. You shall not fear man, for the judgment is God's. The case that is too hard for you, you shall bring to me, and I will hear it. And I commanded you at that time all the things that you should do. Then we sent out from Horeb and went through all the great and fearsome wilderness which you saw on the way to the hill country of the Amorites, just as Yahweh our God had commanded us. And we came to Kadesh Barnea. And I said to you, You have come to the hill country of the Amorites, which Yahweh our God is about to give us. See, Yahweh your God has given over the land before you. Go up, take possession, as Yahweh the God of your fathers has spoken to you. Do not fear or be dismayed. Then all of you came near to me and said, Let us send men before us, that they may search out the land for us and bring back to us word of the way by which we should go up and the cities which we shall enter. And the thing was good in my sight. And I took 12 of your men, one man for each tribe. Then they turned and went up into the hill country and came to the way to the valley of Eshcol and spied it out. Then they took some of the fruit of the land in their hands and brought it down to us, and they brought back word to us and said, it is a good land which Yahweh our God is about to give us. Yet you are not willing to go up, but rebelled against the command of Yahweh your God, and you grumbled in your tents and said, because Yahweh hates us, he has brought us out of the land of Egypt to give us, where can we go up? Our brothers have made our hearts melt, saying, the people are bigger and taller than we. The cities are large and fortified to heaven. And moreover, we saw the sons of Anakim there. Then I said to you, do not be in dread, nor fear them. Yahweh your God, who goes before you, will himself fight on your behalf, just as he did for you in Egypt before your eyes, and in the wilderness where you saw how Yahweh your God carried you, just as a man carries his son, and all the way which you have walked until you came to this place. But for all this you did not believe in Yahweh your God, who goes before you on your way to spy out a place for you to encamp, and fire by night and cloud by day, to show you the way in which you should go. Then Yahweh heard the sounds of your words, and he was angry and swore an oath, saying, not one of these men, this evil generation, shall see the good land which I swore to give to your fathers, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh. He shall see it, and to him and to his sons I will give the land on which he has set foot, because he has followed Yahweh fully. Yahweh was still angry with me also on your account, saying, not even you shall enter there. Joshua the son of Nun, who stands before you, he shall enter there. Strengthen him, for he will cause Israel to inherit it. Moreover, your little ones, who you said will become plunder, and your sons, who this day have no knowledge of good or evil, shall enter there, and I will give it to them, and they shall possess it. But as for you, turn around and set out for the wilderness by the way to the Red Sea. Then you said to me, we have sinned against Yahweh. We will indeed go up and fight, just as Yahweh our God commanded us. And every man of you girded on his weapons of war and regarded it as easy to go up into the hill country. And Yahweh said to me, say to them, do not go up and do not fight, for I am not among you, so that you are not defeated before your enemies. So I spoke to you, but you would not listen. Instead, you rebelled against the command of Yahweh and acted presumptuously and went up into the hill country. And the Amorites who lived in the hill country came out to meet you and pursued you as bees do, and crushed you from Seir to Hormah. Then you returned and wept before Yahweh, but Yahweh did not listen to your voice, nor give ear to you. So you remain in Kadesh many days, according to the days that you remained there. Now to Psalms chapter 81. For the choir director, according to the Gittith of Asaph. Sing for joy to God our strength. Make a loud shout to the God of Jacob. Lift up a song of praise. Strike the tambourine, the sweet-sounding lyre with the harp. Blow the trumpet at the new moon, at the full moon, on our feast day. For it is a statute for Israel, a judgment of the God of Jacob. He established it for a testimony in Joseph when he went forth over the land of Egypt. I heard a language that I did not know. I relieved his shoulder of the burden. His hands were freed from the basket. You called in distress, and I rescued you. I answered you in the hiding place of thunder. I tested you at the waters of Meribah. Selah. Hear, O my people, and I will testify against you. O Israel, if you would listen to me. Let there be no strange God among you, and you shall not worship a foreign God. I am Yahweh, your God, who brought you up from the land of Egypt. Open your mouth wide, and I will fill it. But my people did not listen to my voice, and Israel was not willing to obey me. So I released them over to the stubbornness of their heart, that they would walk in their own devices. Oh, that my people would listen to me, that Israel would walk in my ways. I would quickly subdue their enemies, and I would turn my hand against their adversaries. Those who hate Yahweh would cower before him, and their time of punishment would be forever. But I would feed you with the finest of the wheat, and with honey from the rock I would satisfy you. Now to Psalms 82. A psalm of Asaph. God takes his stand in the congregation of God. He judges in the midst of gods. How long will you judge unrighteously and show partiality to the wicked? Selah. Give justice to the poor and the orphan. Justify the afflicted and destitute. Protect the poor and needy. Deliver them out of the hand of the wicked. They do not know and do not understand. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I said, you are gods, and all of you are sons of the Most High. Nevertheless, you will die like men, and you will fall like any one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for it is you who will inherit all the nations. Now to Isaiah chapter 29. Woe, O Ariel, Ariel, the city where David once camped. Add year to year, observe your feasts on schedule. I will bring distress to Ariel, and she will be a city of mourning and moaning, and she will be like an Ariel to me. And I will camp against you, encircling you, and I will fortify siege works against you, and I'll raise up fortifications against you. Then you will be brought low. From the earth you will speak, and from the dust where you are prostrate, your words will come. Your voice will also be like that of a spirit from the ground, and your speech will whisper from the dust. But it will be that the multitude of your enemies will become like fine dust, and the multitude of the ruthless ones like the chaff which blows away. And it will happen instantly, suddenly. From Yahweh of hosts you will be punished with thunder and earthquake and loud noise, with whirlwind and tempest, and the flame of a consuming fire. And it will be the multitude of all the nations who wage war against Ariel, even all who wage war against her and her stronghold, and who distress her. We will be like a dream, a vision of the night. And it will be as when a hungry man dreams, and behold, he is eating, but he awakens and his soul is empty. Or as when a thirsty man dreams, and behold, he is drinking, but he awakens, and behold, he is faint, and his soul is not quenched. Thus the multitude of all the nations will be, who wage war against Mount Zion. Astonish yourselves and be astonished. Bind yourselves and be blind. They become drunk, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. For Yahweh has poured over you a spirit of deep sleep. He has shut your eyes, the prophets. He has covered your heads, the seers. The entire vision will be like the words of a sealed book, which when they gave it to the one who is literate, saying, please read this, he will say, I cannot, for it is sealed. Then the book will be given to the one who does not know how to read a book, saying, please read this, and he will say, I do not know how to read a book. Then the Lord said, because this people draw near with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but they remove their hearts far from me, and their fear of me is in the command of men, learned by rote. Therefore, behold, I will once again deal marvelously with this people, wondrously marvelous. And the wisdom of their wise men will perish, and the discernment of their discerning men will be hidden. Woe to those who deeply hide their counsel from Yahweh, and whose deeds are done in a dark place, and they say, who sees us, or who knows us? You turn things around. Shall the potter be considered as equal with the clay? That which is made would say to its maker, he did not make me. Or what his forms say to him who formed it, he has no understanding. Is it not yet just a little while before Lebanon will be turned into a fruitful orchard, and the fruitful orchard will be counted as a forest? On that day, the deaf will hear words of a book, and out of the darkness and thick darkness, the eyes of the blind will see. The afflicted also will increase their gladness in Yahweh, and the needy of mankind will rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. For the ruthless will come to an end, and the scoffer will be finished. Indeed, all who are watching out to do evil will be cut off. who cause a person to sin by a word and ensnare him who reproves at the gate, and defraud the one in the right with meaningless arguments. Therefore, thus says Yahweh, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob, Jacob shall not now be ashamed, and now his face shall not turn pale. But when he sees his children, the work of my hands in his midst, they will sanctify my name. Indeed, they will sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and will stand trembling before the God of Israel. Those who err in spirit will know discernment, and those who criticize will gain learning. Now, the 3rd John, chapter 1. The elder to the beloved Gaius, whom I love in truth. Behold, I pray that in all respects you may prosper and be in good health, just as your soul prospers. For I rejoiced greatly when brothers came and bore witness to your truth, that is, how you are walking in truth. I have no greater joy than this, to hear that my children are walking in truth. Beloved, you are acting faithfully in whatever work you do for the brothers, and are doing this though they are strangers, and they bore witness to your love before the church. You will do well to send them on their way in a manner worthy of God, for they went out for the sake of the name, receiving nothing from the Gentiles. Therefore, we ought to support such men, so that we may be fellow workers with the truth. I wrote something to the church, but Diotrephes, who loves to be first among them, does not welcome what we say. For this reason, if I come, I will bring to remembrance his deeds, which he does, unjustly disparaging us with wicked words. And not satisfied with this, he himself does not welcome the brothers either, and he forbids those who want to do so, and puts them out of the church. Beloved, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. The one who does good is of God, and the one who does evil has not seen God. Demetrius has received a good witness from everyone, and from the truth itself, and we add our witness, and you know that our witness is true. I had many things to write to you, but I am not willing to write them to you with pen and ink. But I hope to see you shortly, and we will speak face to face. Peace be to you. The friends greet you. Greet the friends by my name. By name. Excuse me. Excuse me. And that is going to conclude our reading this morning from God's Word, as we've covered these 5 chapters this morning. You can help but notice the parallel between Deuteronomy chapter 1 and Psalms 81, how the foolishness of the Israelites by not trusting in God. And then we see in Psalms 81 just the promises that God makes to those who trust in him. If only they would have heeded that and understood that God was with them and stood with them and understood their fear, but would be with them as long as they just showed faith and followed and obeyed him. And that's what God asks of us this morning, that we just trust him with our lives and with everything that we do. Again, I hope you find yourself in a place of worship this morning with God's people, worshiping him. He so greatly deserves our worship and our praise. That's why we say, Soli Deo Gloria.